got Shivani Trivedi, our former student. So she just finished her degree with us. So tell us a bit, yourself, what's happening right now?
Right now, I am waiting to transition between my undergrad and my postgrad. I'm starting uni again in mid-September. So right now I'm just getting ready for, the transition from undergrad to postgrad.
So basically you are doing for law conversion degree in your postgrad?
Yeah,
okay.
A law conversion degree.
So it's not unusual. So a politics student can actually end up in a,
a lot
profession, quite a lot.
So most of the people that I know that are in my cohort have either done things like history, politics, geography, history of art, like so many like art, basically MA subjects that you'd usually do at university, and then you can do a law conversion for a year.
And basically you can become a barrister or a solicitor.
Yeah, so after you've done the GDL or the MA law conversion for a year, you have the same qualification as anyone who's done an LLB and an LLM. So you can just do your LPC or BPC and then progress into being a fully trained solicitor or barrister.
Okay. So coming back to your university days in Dundee, I remember you went to Australia to do a full year exchange.
A full year abroad. Yeah.
That's an exchange program, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a study abroad program. I don't know if it was directly exchange.
Okay, but so it was called.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Could be same thing. Yeah. Tell us like the story behind that. So how did you apply for that? Like when you were aware of this kind of opportunity?
I don't actually remember. I don't remember that far back, but I remember hearing about it from our school secretary, or like, they send out emails quite often being like, this is available now, apply for this, apply for that. And obviously when you're joining university in first year, you see a lot of universities talking about study abroad, and we offer this. If you do this language, you can study abroad. So I would have had the option between going abroad to study politics, which was my degree at the time, because I then changed it like 4 times, and going abroad in third year. So I had to decide this in first year, or going abroad because I did German as well. So I could choose to go to Germany as part of Erasmus in third year, or going abroad just like wherever I wanted in second year. But I kind of did that because I was like, why would you not do it?
Yeah.
Because there's so little chances of you going abroad to study out of pocket as well, because it's a lot more expensive to do it when you're doing it by yourself. And the entry requirements and applying and all of this is so hard. But then doing it through the university is more cost efficient and time efficient.
Okay.
And I like traveling. So I obviously moved from London to Scotland. And then from Scotland to, it's like, why would you not choose Australia?
But also it's a kind of like, I'm not sure like what's the right word. It's like more kind of safe kind of space as well. So you were being taken care of by 2 universities rather than 1 university.
Yeah.
So
there's, if anything goes wrong either way, there's 2 people to fall back on.
So that's quite, because that's one of the things, when you go abroad, it's all kind of safety issues. But in this case, it looks like very, very, well structured, and you felt safe. And then, 1 year was just like good fun. Also, like learning lots of new things, new culture, new kind of environment, new people, but also learning your own courses stuff as well.
Yeah, well, especially one of the main reasons I did it the way I did it and the time I did it at was because obviously in Scotland, first and second year don't count towards your final degree grade.
Yep.
And third and fourth year do. So if I went to Europe or anywhere else, it would have been in third year, which means that you have to work extra hard because also the course is harder. The conversion is harder because it doesn't convert the same, all of that stuff. And then if I went in second year, I'd have to, obviously I study and you do well, but also that extra pressure of you have to do well is taken off.
Mm, mm, mm,
Like you can still enjoy yourself, if that makes sense.
yep, yep. No, I mean, it totally makes sense. No, going to Australia for 1 year under the
Yeah,
umbrella of two universities. No, I mean, what not to like?
it was great. It was the best decision, hands down, ever.
Oh my God, well done.
Because it was also quite difficult because when you apply for study abroad, you have to do it between it's by continent.
Mm.
So
Ah,
I applied to Canada,
mm.
Hong Kong. I think it was Hong Kong at the
I think
time,
so. Yeah, yeah. Hong Kong is part of it.
and
Australia and New Zealand.
Australia. Yeah. So I could only do, if I did Australia, it had to be with Hong Kong. So I did Hong Kong and Australia, but Australia was my first preference because it's just so far away. I was like, when else would you get the opportunity to go that
Yeah.
far away?
And to stay for 1 year.
Yeah. And like, you know, as a full-on student, like
Yeah.
it's funded by the government because you still get your student finance.
Mm, mm,
Your tuition is reduced. I
yeah.
didn't know this.
And also
But
you can live in a student accommodation as well, which
yeah, so everything is so easy. The only thing I had to worry about was flights and the visa.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I had to worry about.
Mm, mm. That's good to know because I mean, so like obviously like how this works in terms of visa thing. So you are a British citizen going
Mhm.
abroad for 1 year in Australia. So you still need that permission from Australian government.
So there's a special visa that you get.
Okay.
So it's called a subclass 900 or 500 something. So
Okay.
it's essentially made for people who study abroad for a year.
Okay.
It's like a year-long visa,
Mm,
and you just need to give them a proof of your enrollment.
okay.
And that's it. That's like all they require from you because it's
This is quite straightforward. It's not like too much.
so straightforward.
Okay. In terms of like if you're planning to do some part-time work, would that allow you to do it as well?
You can work for, I think there's a certain amount of hours a week that you can legally work under your visa.
Okay.
So you can work.
Okay.
So say that you can't, like, you know, you need extra money.
Mm-hmm.
All of my friends worked.
Okay.
I made loads of friends who are also doing the study abroad.
Okay.
They went to Leeds and Dublin University, UC Dublin, and they all worked whilst they were there.
Okay. So that's quite common if you want.
Yeah. I worked as well. I did more of it was like a voluntary, or you know the food co-op, don't you?
Yeah, yep, I know. Yeah.
So I worked with the food co-op.
That's interesting. So it's like it's not only like going abroad, but also, you know, having those experiences as well, you know, even like work experience. Not only
it's literally
like,
just living. It's like a life experience more than anything else.
I think it's so. Do you really recommend this kind of?
Oh, 120%.
Okay, good.
Like anyone I've ever spoken to, I've just said you have to go abroad because it's one of those things that you wouldn't think about doing otherwise. You wouldn't just pack up your bags and, you know, I'm moving to Australia for a year. But if you can, why not?
Yeah. No, I think that was an amazing opportunity. I mean, no.
Yeah.
And lots of students don't know much about these things, and then, you know, you can stay outside UK for a year, and this will not impact anything. It's just, you know, part of your degree.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This is actually my ticket to Australia hanging out in the background. That's my ticket to Australia and New Zealand.
Oh my God. So you can see, like, so I think these are good memories, special memories. Yeah. Very good. Well done.
And also you get to study the most random courses in the entire world, like such good courses. They're so cool. Like I know Dundee offers a good selection, but this is like, because it's such a big university.
Yep.
A massive, and it's more focused on politics as well. So it was great for me because they specialize in that. I got to study like the politics of nuclear weapons. from a lady who was the special advisor to the president about nuclear weapons. I'm like, how do you, one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. And then such like random courses like I did celebrity history, which was the history of celebrities.
Oh my God.
And it was just such a, like, you wouldn't do that if it counted towards your degree.
Yeah.
But you could, because why not? Because the brochure for like when you have to choose your modules is like 3 to 4 pages long, and everything's like that fine print. So you're just sat there for ages going, I want to take this, but I can't take this. And it's so much to pick from as well. So both like the social and living aspect, but also the educational aspect was so great. Because you get to study things you'd never studied before. I had the option to study Sanskrit if I wanted to.
Wow.
So the selection of languages as well, because I obviously studied German.
Yeah.
I had to do German in Australia. That's the only requirement that I had.
Okay.
So if I wanted to continue it at Dundee, I had to do it on my year abroad. But even then, I met so many friends through German, because obviously learning a language is such an interactive course. You end up making friends. And I'm still friends with everyone that I was friends with in Australia to this day.
So you have basically 2 groups of friends from 2 universities. Happen at the same time.
Well, 3 actually, because I have my friends from Dundee.
Okay.
I have my Australian friends from Australia.
Yeah.
And then I made friends with all these British people that were in Australia on their year abroad. So I have friends from like Leeds and Exeter and Nottingham and Dublin who I would never have met, but we all were in the same orientation group together. And like my best friend is now, like, I met her through that. So it's crazy.
And like these people are kind of spread out around the world. So you can go anywhere and still, I think you can manage a sofa where you can sleep.
Yeah, it's literally, I'm constantly on the phone to someone, because when I'm going to bed, they're waking up, and when they're waking up, I'm going to bed. And like, so many of my friends are always like, just come visit us. And so many of them came to visit me, which was great. Yeah, one of my friends, he was going around Europe, and obviously for them, traveling from Italy to London is nothing.
Yeah.
So my friend was like, I'm coming to London for a day to come see you. And I was like, okay, great. So he literally came for maybe 48 hours. He stopped off, saw me, and then went home.
So your advice will be like, when you come to university, just be open to all those things, all those challenges.
Anything they throw at you, literally anything. Because most of my friends that I met, especially in Australia, was orientation. I was lost. I literally just said, hey, can you tell me how to get to this building? And then we walked together, and now we're friends. Like we're 3 years later, we're still friends. So it's like, just approach people. Don't Google Maps it. Ask someone, and you'll be friends with them.
I mean, especially like if you are in a university environment, because like this is a safe space.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the safest space in the society, in any society. And I think that's really important. And the part of our education is not only like doing courses or like sitting for exams, but also build up this human social capital.
Yeah.
Because these things are also important.
It's so important as well, because a lot of people, I feel like they get really lonely at university because they don't, and that sort of diminishes the quality of your experience. But when you're surrounded by people that you get on with, and that you can, even if you don't do the same course, you can study together, or you can go and get a coffee or something if you feel down. It's just so important to have different groups of people, because different people prefer doing different things. So if you always have someone to sort of reach out to, it's so important to just get out there and join society. Even if you don't care about the society, join it. I would always go to like different events and like things because my flatmate used to be part of scuba. So she'd always have her scuba friends over at our flat, and we'd always mingle with each other. And my other friends were part of Rucksack, so I'd always go to Rucksack, and I met people through that. and I was part of Labour. So I was on the committee for Labour for a while. And I've so many friends that I still talk to from that. So just going out. And then in Australia, I didn't join any societies in Australia, but I made a lot of friends through work.
Okay.
So my society was working for the ANU basically. And because I worked with a co-op, I just met people of all ages and backgrounds and sort of, just random people that you'd never meet unless you worked in such a tight-knit society.
So if you compare, these 4 years in the university, this is I think you achieved lots of things, isn't it? It's not only the education, but also the social aspect, the cultural aspect, I don't know, like there are lots of aspects there.
Yeah.
And then gave so much confidence to you as well.
Oh, 100%.
Because one of the things you'll do, because you'll deal with people throughout your, if you become a lawyer, you have to deal with people.
I have no choice.
Have no choice. And then these are kind of good training ground in a positive sense. Really
for sure. It's literally about just taking the opportunity. Because I did a lot of open days as well when I was up for German, and things like speaking in front of people used to freak me out at school. And I did it, but also it just, that sort of comfort zone is somehow built around you. Like you don't feel uncomfortable doing it after a while.
You can see even for today's talk or the podcast we did in the past, you are one of the person, you can just okay, let's talk. You can start anytime. So if you can do it, good for you. If you are worried, just do one at a time, a small bit, from a small talk, then become more articulate, and then because I think part of a life is just you have to be a good talker this way, that way.
That has I can definitely say that really helps with everything, because especially making friends when you move to a new city, because I moved from London to Dundee, I knew nobody. So going there is being chatty helps, because people are you force them to speak to you basically. And they might be your friends, they might not be your friends, but it's always worth trying. There's no harm in trying with people.
And even
lecturers.
That's one of the things as well. So it's not only your own cohort, but also because one of the things, one of our colleagues was saying the other day, that the students have to be brave if they really do something. You have to be brave to challenge yourself, and then because with me, university is the safest space, and then
for sure,
really need to thrive there.
But it's also so easy, I think, at university, especially as a first year. It's a clean slate for you. Nobody has any sort of biases or prejudices against you. Just go for it, especially because now I feel like I'm so comfortable speaking to anyone in our department. And going, even if it's not for help, even if it's for just any advice, it's so important to have someone from your faculty that you can go and speak to. And I think I'm so lucky that our faculty is so close-knit as well, that everyone is happy to speak to anyone. And it's a given thing. So you don't even have to try. You guys are there to help us and be there for us. So why would you not take the opportunity?
One of the things I tell my students, coming to university is a gift. So take it.
100%.
Just embrace it, and then maximize this gift. Because this is it. These 4 years will build your life. So if you really work hard on those couple of skills, then that's it. You don't have to worry about the rest of your life. Rest of your life is in front of you. That's 70 years.
Don't say that. That freaks me out. Don't say that, Abdullah.
Okay, so one of the things that we want to touch, you did a language with your degree. What made you, when did you decide to do this thing? That language, I really want to do a language.
So I studied German at school. So my whole degree is obviously politics and IR with German.
Yep.
I studied politics at school and I dropped it after my GCSEs, which I think in Scotland is Nat 5.
Yep.
So I didn't do it for my hires or my A levels. But I also speak 2 other languages. And I didn't really speak any European languages, but I also had the foundation of German. So I was like, why? It was an elective because in first year you're allowed to choose, I think, 2 modules that aren't part of your syllabus.
Yeah.
So I was like, why not choose German? Let's see how it goes. I was only going to do it for a semester. So I was like, let me see. If it works out, it works out. If not, it doesn't. And I kind of just did it to get back into German, and it worked. So I did it for all of first year. And then in second year, if I wanted to continue it to make it part of my degree in third year, I had to do it on my year abroad. And that's when I was a bit like, I don't know if I want to do this, because it's German's known to be a very hard language to learn.
Yep.
But I was like, if I'm so far into having this background, I might as well continue it. Because it's always handy to have a language, and especially in politics and law and kind of social sciences, it's so important to have a different language. So I did it, I continued it, and then I made it part of my degree because I could. So why not have an extra qualification? It makes you more employable.
Yep.
And I really like learning languages as well. So
I mean, especially I think this is our kind of talk because the diaspora population, us who came from another country, from another culture, from another language, so we already know 2 languages automatically. So if you get another one, so basically in your case you can cover Southeast Asia, now part of Europe, and then also since English, so that means you can cover Australia,
America,
Canada, New Zealand. So more or less you can more or less cover 60-70% of the world.
Well, because I was born and brought up here in London, but my parents always taught me Gujarati. And then I learned Hindi through watching TV and stuff. But then I can communicate, and the good thing about Asian languages, they're all quite intelligible. You can kind of tell what the other person's saying. So I was like, why not just add a European language as well? It's just important to have languages, I think, because they always come in handy.
So you learn language for 4 years. How good you are in German?
According to my degree, I should have a working proficiency of German.
Okay.
But I can say that online sort of learning affected it slightly, because when you're learning a language, you need to be face to face with the person, and there's so much you can do over a computer. But I think if I had maybe a normal university experience, I'd be great. But I can still communicate. I have sort of everyday basic knowledge of German. Wow. So if I went to Germany, I can totally understand what people are saying to me. I still don't have the confidence of speaking properly. And I think that would have helped if I had face-to-face classes. But I can communicate with the German and understand what they're saying to me. But I can better read and understand German, if that makes sense. And I can write in German. So I have a good sense of the language.
And I think this is a good set of skill. I mean, so you put 3-4 languages in your CV. I mean, you see, I mean, when we are talking about this, job market is so competitive. So this give you extra edge. In terms of your degree, politics IR, so you did 1 year abroad and then you come back. So you go straight to third year.
Straight into third year.
Straight to third year. I mean, did you find it okay? Going back to, again, to your old university, because you had a 1 year outside and come back and then straight to third year. So third year is serious time. So this is on
Yeah.
a level. How did you find it, this like transition? Do you think it was seamless or?
I think no one, when you go abroad and you come back, no one mentions the reverse culture shock
Mm,
of coming back to where you left from.
mm,
Because it's sort of weird. I remember the first few days, I was still a bit like, wait, I know Dalhousie, but how do I get around it again? Like, it's just sort of jogging your memory. But then a week into uni, I was back into like the zone.
mm, mm,
But it feels a bit strange because you do, especially the change from campus was huge.
mm,
The fact that I went from such a massive university back to like quite a small university
mm, mm,
was that was a bit shocking. And also the fact that a lot of people that I'd started with had changed or dropped out or like, you know, moved courses and all sorts of
mm,
stuff.
mm,
That was a bit difficult, especially with German, because a lot of people, you're allowed to drop it after second year if you don't want to carry it on to honours.
mm,
So I went in and the intensity of that changed. But in terms of politics, I think I fit right back in.
mm,
A
mm.
few of the lecturers a bit like, wait, who are you again? But then, because I left in first year when it was a massive class group. And then it went from like 300 people in a lecture theatre to about 20.
Mm, mm, mm,
But then I think straight away I was back into it.
mm. I think especially because I mean what we do like uh, whenever a student starts their journey in the university, they get an academic advisor,
Yeah.
and I think that helps, isn't it? So you know that
Yeah.
I can talk to this person, I can,
Yeah.
and I think because I mean I was your advisor, academic advisor, so I mean
Yeah.
I did not forget you that you've gone and then come back. I still remember
Yeah. You remembered.
I knew Shivani, and coming back. And I think most of my colleagues still remember. And since it's a small department, but at the same time, I think we are, I don't know, it's just it's a like department's culture as well. We try to be
It's very
more
personable
connected,
almost.
more connected with our students,
Yeah.
the personal level. I mean,
Which is, I think, very hard to find because a lot of my friends in um different subjects and like different schools, they didn't really have that because it's a bigger
mm,
school.
mm,
I think it really helps that our department is quite close knit.
mm, mm,
So I also you don't feel out of place or stupid or kind of shy to go and speak to somebody,
mm, mm,
which is I think really helpful about especially our department is that I don't, even if say Dayan, if he wasn't teaching me, I still would feel comfortable
yeah,
going to him and speaking to him.
mm,
Same with Edzia or like Scott or someone.
yeah, yeah. Mm,
It's just that like
mm.
sense of
It looks like almost we know each other, it's
everyone
kind
just
of
knows each other.
that kind of culture,
Yeah.
and then like whatever, whenever you need something, you can always ask, and then these
Yeah.
people, that these people will come back to you.
Yeah, they will help you.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Mm, mm. I saw like in like other cases in my other examples where students struggle, even like try to get a even like a small reference from their former universities because they
Yeah.
don't know anyone there, and then they stuck up in this bureaucracy and all those things. Um,
Yeah.
like in our case, I saw in the past, students, because normally students go back to their, like academic advisor or the people they work closely, like for example, like dissertation supervisor, they ask them for their references, but sometimes they're on holiday or something like that. And I saw like a lot
Yeah.
of students, just send me random email that, oh, Edja is not in her office or she's on holiday. Can you just, do this to me? Like, can you,
Yeah.
I will send you this CV and can you write a reference for me? And I did one of your courses in the second year or first year.
Yeah.
So like, that kind of thing,
It's so like everyone's so approachable.
yeah.
You
So
don't feel bad or ashamed
I
or
mean,
anything or scared.
yeah, I mean, and then normally we kind of get back to those students. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, send
Yeah.
it to me and then I'll write something for you. I think that's really important because when you become older, you need these things. You need these people behind you. So, for another job application or for another, degree, you need these people behind you. And if these people care about you, that's very important.
Yeah, because it's always, they've seen you sort of build up as well, from a small character to hopefully a bigger character. So it's such an important reference, especially to have to come back to, because I feel like you've seen us grow.
I think all the time when you write reference for the students, it's a very personal reference, because I really know this person, I taught him or her, and then I saw him or her, grew up for years.
Yeah, because it's also not just about the academics, it's also they want to know about your personality, and they want to know if you can sort of just fit in. So it's important to have that personal touch to it, rather than just, oh yeah, they're good at writing essays.
Like, one thing I really want to, this is a final bit. The final bit is, because when you come to fourth year, then one of the things you will face is, you might choose to write a dissertation.
Oh yeah.
It's a big task. It's a sustained commitment for 1 year.
Yeah.
You have to produce a good work. It's a serious work, basically. But also it can bring lots of good things for you, because that's your ultimate level. You can manage a big, long work and deliver a sustained, good piece of thing.
Work.
What kind of advice you will give? In terms of the choosing the topic areas, because I think because especially with your cohort, you guys struggled because of those, COVID, and lots of other things happened behind the scene, and everything kind of fell apart. But again, but the work had to continue. What are the things you faced? Do you think, if I had done that way, or it's not like you did not do well, you did well, you got a first mark in your dissertation, so those things are there, but at the same time, it's quite a daunting task, isn't it?
It's one of those things, because you're so used to writing 2,500 words, and you're so used to being so concise in everything you say, that suddenly you go from being concise to, I need to expand on everything that I'm saying. One of the biggest pieces of advice was start early. Start your research super, super early, even if you don't really have a question formulated, because I changed my question maybe like 2 weeks before the deadline, because I sat down with Edzia and we literally just said, this question, this title isn't working. Everything stays the same. My work stays the same, everything stays the same, but the title needs to work to fit your argument. Otherwise, you'd get a low mark, because your title is saying something else and your argument is completely off the basis of it. But I actually, Edzia found it very funny. I found it very funny. I approached her in third year, I think it was first semester of third year, talking about my dissertation, because I knew that I wanted to focus on human rights. And she specializes in it. And also I wanted to write about India, and I know that she has a vast knowledge on India. So this kind of thing was decided quite early on. And I had an idea I wanted to do it on this in third year, but you don't have to be that overly prepared about anything, because in the end, everything changes. So nothing is going to be set in stone. But yeah, just the research aspect of it was the most daunting bit, because you don't realize how, especially if you want to do things on, if you want to do a dissertation on a subject that's so either new or so unheard of, that there's no existing material. You've got to be prepared for the fact that you might not be able to do it on what you want to do it on. And you'd have to adapt a few things and tweak it just to fit what you can get. Because I did mine on a period in India which had such heavy censorship that there's no evidence or media or anything for you to get a hold of. So I had to completely change the idea of what I wanted to write to fit the information that I could secure. So yeah, it's just like, be prepared for anything to change.
But also I think the part of the game is good communication with the supervisor.
Keep going back to them. Like, I used to email Edzia about 5 times a week, be like, hi, I need help again. Hi, can I have a meeting? But the good thing is that she was so accommodating. Like, she'd always be like, I have 5 minutes, hop on a Zoom call, or like, I can't reply, I can just email you quickly. And she'd always have resources for me. She'd always help me find things. And she was so brutally honest. Like, she was, which is what you need. You don't need someone to like baby you and be like, oh, this is great, but it's actually rubbish. You need someone to say, this isn't working, scrap this. Which is what worked really well. I think it's that brutal honesty, which is what you need. You don't need someone to be like, oh, this is amazing.
Okay, so the last question is like, tell us your Dundee University's experience in like one sentence, or like with like 3 keywords.
I don't know. That's really hard.
Just like spontaneously, what you are thinking of.
Exciting, daunting, and comfortable.
At the end, it became very comfortable, isn't it?
Very comfortable, yeah. But I feel like, maybe daunting and exciting together throughout the whole experience, because so many things changed when I did my degree. Like, everything was constantly changing, regardless of COVID or strikes or, like moving abroad and stuff like that. All of that changed, but it's daunting and exciting at the same time. But then,
and don't give up.
Don't give up, because you've worked so hard to get there. Just push through.
Just push through. Yeah. Thank you, Shivani.
That's okay.